NL Central Picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and available in 40 states. Head to cut.com, that's KUTT.com. Use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, NHL, college basketball, and more. Sign up today using the promo code MLBSGPN to get a 100% deposit match. We're brought to you by Champs. Run your own March Madness pool. Enter Champs free bracket contest for a chance to win $1,000. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/champs to enter today. And finally, we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Thursday, March the 7th, and we are here to have a look around the NL Central. This is the fourth of our 6 division previews. We're getting into the grimy stuff tonight. Joining us, first of all, is Mr. Dylan Rockford. D-Rock, how are you?
Oh, Malcolm, I'm doing well. Very fun division. And when I came home from work today, I got a package in the mail all the way from Newcastle.
What did you buy?
I got it.
What?
Yes, I got it. A Nottingham Forest scarf from Malcolm all the way from Newcastle. I appreciate it. I appreciate your wife sending it all the way across the world. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Did you find all the other stuff? Did the little badge fall out? You didn't lose that either?
No, I got the pin I put on a hat. I got the ticket I hung in my room, and I got the pamphlet. I got it, and I got your little note. We're going to be millionaires one day, Mal.
What made me laugh writing that note was I haven't wrote a letter for about 30 years. It was the kind of letter you used to have to write to your grandma or your auntie after Christmas.
Yeah.
Said thank you for whatever shit she bought you. And I sat down with this notepad and paper and had to write sort of Dear Dylan. And it just felt really unusual thing to do, to sit and write a letter and put it in there. But I'm glad you got that, mate. Well done. And also joining us, an absolute pleasure. The reason that I'm dressed up tonight, because normally I'm sitting here in my pajamas, all the way from Las Vegas, the hardest working man in baseball media, possibly, is the sportsbook consigliere, Mr. Dave Sharapan. Hello, Dave. How are you?
Great to see both of you. Mal, in uniform, ready to take ground balls. I absolutely love it, sir. Great to see you. You've really progressed from the last time we did the show. You're doing reads, you're doing intros, and now you're writing letters. How was your penmanship? Seriously, how was your penmanship?
It's actually not too bad, you know. I don't know, Dylan, can you vouch for me there, Dylan?
It's like a doctor or a lawyer, but
okay,
I can read it.
All right. Well, good to see you too, D-Rock. I knew you'd give us a straight answer because you always do. You're a straight shooter. Good to see you. You're hyping up the NL Central. God bless you. I mean, this is what we're going to talk about. We're baseball guys, so we love it. Hopefully the audience likes it because I'll tell you what, boys. I mean, I look at these numbers. I was going over it in preparation for the show going, all right, I mean, like everybody's talking about the Dodger season wins and how big it is and, you know, how bad the A's are or how bad the Rockies might be. This is a lot of mediocre. Is it not, Mal?
It is. That's what makes it sort of fun and dirty to get into, because myself and Dylan sat here last week and looked at the Braves and the Phillies. So we look at a division there, which had some good teams in it, but you had a 9.5 win favourite in the Braves. The Phillies then had a 9.5 win gap back to the third place projected team. And then there was 25 wins back to Washington. So as much as it was better baseball, it was hard to find a bet. You had to go mining for nuggets. This, you could throw a blanket over the projected win total of all 5 teams. So from a betting point of view, this is where the money's to be made, Dave. So I'm right into this. I've got one of my best bets of the season, of the preseason.
On a season win total in this division, Mal?
Sorry?
this is one of your best season
No,
win
it's not a win
totals of
total,
the
Dave.
season?
It's not a win total. It's a 16-1 shot. It's fancy, but I like it. And all will become clear when we get around it.
Okay. All right.
Before we get into these teams, Dave, tell us how Vegas is, because we just had a little chat off here, and we've gone from Formula One to Super Bowl.
Mhm.
There's the prospect that you might get a Oakland Athletics team landing in your town as well. So what's just the usual Vegas mayhem? What's happening?
Yeah, the usual Vegas mayhem. A year of construction, a mess leading up to that F1 race. They changed the whole look of the city for a little while. It was incredible what was going on, but it made it a nightmare to get around for locals. The race brought a lot of excitement, and it brought a lot of people from your neck of the woods and even further away. There were a lot of Europeans and people from all over the world that came here to Vegas for that race. That was a fun experience to see on TV. Let's put it that way. I was happy that I was 15 to 20 minutes away from most of it, and I avoided a lot of it while it was here. But the Super Bowl, completely different. It's not their first rodeo. The NFL came in, took over a couple hotels, took over the Strip, and the media center at Mandalay Bay became an epicenter of excitement, activity. We had the Chiefs in it, which always is good for business. We had the Niners in it, which is good for a West Coast Super Bowl. Place was popping. It was so much fun. And I had a lot of fun doing the shows. We did Bostonian versus the Book right from Media Row every day. I did a lot of other shows. I saw Sean and Kramer. I see them more often than not during the week and stuff anyway, but a lot of touch base with old friends, meet new friends, do a lot of content. It was great. And then the game lived up to the billing, despite the fact that a defensive battle wasn't everybody's cup of tea. It was still a good game, I thought. And, a lot of people won money, which then could turn into baseball future betting and fantasy baseball, and March Madness is coming. We'll have that as well. But the A's, listen, you've seen the renderings of this ballpark that looks like the Opera House in Australia. There's no lights on the rendering. There's nothing. Like, it's I think it's AI generated, Mal. D-Rock, I don't know what kind of stadiums they're playing in there. Like, where it's at is going to change the life of that area with traffic forever. And it's the A's. Like, the Vegas. Mal, think of the worst soccer team you could have. And they're coming to your city. The worst team. Would you want them?
They haven't been terrible always. There's a competitive balance thing that your country has that means in 10 or 15 years, the A's will be back again, surely, won't they? Get back up the cycle?
10 or 15 years, Mal. Do you understand? They reinvent Vegas in a year. Like, they'll blow up a building and turn it around, or they change the face or change the name, and it reinvents itself. You got about a 3 to 5 year window to capture something here, because the visiting fans will come and they'll fill the place for a while, but they're not going to tolerate 100 lost seasons here. There's just too much to do. You know what I'm saying? There's too many things. Relegation is one of the best things that you guys got going on over there in the soccer leagues, because the threat of having to go to like AAA would make some teams, like, your road trips go from going to like San Diego, San Francisco to like Norfolk, Virginia, Peoria, Illinois. A little bit different. We might try a little bit harder, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, actually. The fact that you can't tank in our sports,
I love that.
The jeopardy's unreal. Can you imagine the Athletics or Dylan's New York Jets or whatever the last couple of years? They'd be gone. You wouldn't see them again.
Why is D-Rock catching strays? What would you even? It's a baseball podcast. D-Rock, he mentioned the Jets.
God.
Why'd he do that?
They love to do it. Him and Moonoff, they love to do it. It's all right, man. It's okay.
Are you you're a Mets guy too, though, right, D-Rock?
Oh, yeah, unfortunately.
You can't
Mets,
catch a break.
Knicks, Jets, and Devils.
Boy, it's been a long time since you've seen a team win, huh?
It's like the Dead said, it's been a long, strange trip.
That's not why we're here, though. We prefer the journey past the mouths of the dragons than actually winning something. That's what I'm in it for. TVDBJ was first in the chat because he had to be, or he was going to get a $5 fine for being late on Tuesday night. So well done, Trev. Good effort. Cason's just captain and saying for the second time today. He was in the Premier League show earlier on as well. Slick Rake, Moon Afsia, sing the company anthem, best behaviour for the gaffer. Cason as well. So if you are hanging around in YouTube or Twitter, say hello. That is what we are here for. And give us some of your best bets, because I know we've got some Reds chat already. We've got Trev's a Brewers fan. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. So we'll head across to the lines. Once I've told you first about Cut, peer-to-peer social betting platform, US-based, available in 40 states. Peer-to-peer social betting is a new and better way to bet. You can bet directly against your friends or other users on any topic you like: sport, politics, pop culture. Create your own bets to get involved. Cut handles all the payment side, so you're not chasing people down. It's a really social app as well. So download Cut today in the App Store, kutt.com, and use the promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. And Underdog Fantasy have been brilliant with us all season long. Any sport you like as well. And now the baseball's coming up. It's the easiest place to play fantasy sports, the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry too. Just pick high or lower on your favourite players. You can put 2 in, you can get up to 5, give yourself a chance to win something at 100 to 1. Sign up today with the promo code MLB SGPN, and they'll double your first deposit up to $100, and you'll get an instant pick 'em special. So visit underdogfantasy.com, find them in the app, and don't forget to register with our code MLB SGPN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick 'em. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org. Right then, NL Central. From the top, World Series odds. In fact, we'll go team by team. So we'll start with the St. Louis Cardinals, who are, for the World Series, 30 to 1. For the league, they are 14 to 1. For this division, plus 135. To make the playoffs, minus 130. And they have a season total of 85.5. So like I said, this division was much more interesting to handicap. The books have got 12 games covering the 5 teams, from the Cards at the top down to the Pirates at the bottom. I've seen projections, Fangraph projections have got 7 games, 6.5, 7 games covering the teams from top to bottom. So everything's in play. Everything in every team is on the table here. And I'm going to lead off with the Cardinals because they're the team that I probably feel the strongest about out of the entire league this year. 71 wins last year. That was their first losing record in 17 years. It was their worst record since 1990. So it was a terrible, terrible time for them. They are projected 84 wins.
Mal, I don't mean to interrupt. Do you know who won the division in 1990 when the Cardinals were that bad again? Do you know who won that division?
The divisions they were all different, though, weren't they?
They were different, but they were in the same division as another team.
So it must have been
in this division.
Pirates then, Dave, was it? There
1990 started the run of 3 years of dream for me. They lost in the NLCS 3 times.
The crazy pillbox hats? Or was that before that?
No, that was Bonds, Bonilla, Vandy Van Slyke, Doug Drabeck. There were some really good Pirate baseball teams, but 1992, Francisco Cabrera lost. 1990, they ran into the Reds. The Reds beat them, couldn't beat them, but so I digress. Go ahead, back to the Cardinals. Sorry, I got excited thinking about when you said 1990 because that's the last time the Pirates won the division.
I adore those pillbox hats. The hoopy hats on my bucket list. So yeah, it was a down year for a couple of the key players, Arenado and Goldschmidt. They had the fiasco with the catcher, Contreras. They didn't know what to do with him. Because suddenly I think they just missed Molina. He left a big hole and they didn't really know what to do with it. The historically good defense struggled, and I think they struggled with the shift. They banned the shift, and they didn't adjust. And I don't think St. Louis have adjusted from what they did last year at all. They had no swing and miss in that rotation. They were pitching to contact, and with the defense struggling, it got them in a bit of a mess. And I don't think they've addressed it. Now, I made these notes even before Sonny Gray done his hammy last week. The pitching rotations, like the cast of Cocoon, they're like the Golden Girls. It's wild. So you had Sonny Gray, Gibson, Lynn, Stephen Matt, still in a big fan of Stephen Matt. And then we've got the Lizard King, Miles Mikolas. I just don't want anything to do with it. They've got no depth there. So once they go down, that's it. And that was prior to Sonny Gray going down. So they're already struggling.
Yeah.
Question marks over the lineup. They need so much stuff to go right for them to get this bounce back. People are just expecting a bounce back. And I don't know where it comes from. Goldie Arenado might do stuff. Contreras could assert himself. Jordan Walker could learn a bit of outfield. And then you've got Nolan Gorman, Mason Wynn with a little bit of upside. I don't like them at all. These are my biggest fade of the year.
Oh, wow.
So I've got a couple of picks here.
I like that, actually. I was just going to add, and you keep going. This is great. I'll just add a little bit here and there. But Cardinals are the odds-on favorite to win the division and have the lowest odds of anyone in the division to win a World Series, more on reputation, because you just ran the starting rotation, and it's like, hold on. How can that be the favorite? Doesn't make much sense to me either. And I think that's the beauty of this division, is that you can see it. I can see it. Not a lot of people may agree or disagree. Like, I think you'll get varied opinions all over, but I think you're thinking right in fading the Cardinals. There's a lot of people that just expect a quick, just flip the switch. Oh, we're back. We're going to win 90 games. I don't think they win 90 games, Mal.
Absolutely. Even if they get a little bit better, they won 71 games. They might get back to 76, 77, but that could still, I mean, the even money to miss the playoffs. I think that's a great bet. I would take the total on the under, but my big play here, and it's a little bit out there on a limb, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility, is the St. Louis Cardinals to finish 5th in the division. It's 16 to 1.
Wow.
Yeah. I am already on. I had a little interest the other night. 16 to 1 for the Cards to finish last in the division. Honestly, by the start of June, us three might be the top 3 in the rotation for the St. Louis Cardinals.
My arm can't. I don't know if I got it left.
We got Munaf coming out the pen. We'll be absolutely fine. We might get a couple of wins, but that's it. So yeah, that's my big pick, Dave. If you sound like you're partially out on them. Did you find any good picks for them?
Under season wins. I don't think. I think they're barely 500. I don't think they win 80. 85 is probably the top for me. I don't see them having that season where they just show up and win 90 games. Now, part of a team winning 90 games is having a really bad team in a division to beat up on. I don't think there's that in this division either. I mean, how many season series are they going to win? Listen, they've historically beat up on the Pirates. They battled the Cubs, but the Reds are better. I think the assumption from odds makers, guys that I talk to in the space, is that Milwaukee's going to be that bad team. We'll get to them in a minute, but I don't think that that's so obvious. I don't think that that's so easy. So I'm with you. I like under St. Louis. The division bet, I don't think they win in the division either. The playoffs bet is interesting because the playoff format has changed so much. It's very hard to get 2 teams out of the Central, let alone 3, because the Braves, Phillies, losers making it, definitely. And I don't know I think both the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks are going to make it. So now the division winner, and then the next team has to beat someone else. That's tough. I don't know if that's going to automatically just happen. So I'm with you. I like the look against them.
Dylan, are you with us or against us on the
Yeah,
Cardinals?
it's going to be a team ride. I just don't even know how they're the odds-on favorite to win the NL Central. The preseason favorite hasn't won the division since 2019. The preseason favorite hasn't won the division for the last 4 years, with 3 of the 4 of the previous years coming with the team with the second best odds, which we'll talk about with being the Cubs. So, yeah, I'm fading them. I don't see the veteran presence in the locker room either. I mean, you got Goldschmidt, you got Nolan Arenado, but outside of that, I hate their rotation. I'm taking under 84.5 wins with you. Division, I'm not going to touch plus 185. If you really like the Cardinals and think they can turn it around, I think you could get a better number in season. Playoffs, I'm not going to touch either. I actually like a player prop. I'm going to take Sonny Gray. You mentioned him, under 170.5 strikeouts. The Cardinals, they ranked 29th in the league last year in strikeouts. So you mentioned they added Gray, Gibson, Lance Lynn. We won't talk about Mats, but that has been the priority of the Cardinals in this offseason, getting help in their rotation. But I still don't like it. He had 183 strikeouts last season, and he's essential to the Cardinals for staying on top of the division if they want to be competitive. He adopted a sweeper last year. It's kind of more of a cutter, it looks like, but that's his best strikeout pitch, I think. He's only cleared this mark 3 times in the last 11 years. So I personally don't think he's going to do it. He's already injured. I got to dive under here. This is my favorite bet for the Cardinals. Besides the win total under 84.5, I'm going to take Sonny Gray under 170.5 strikeouts.
Can either of you actually explain to me how this word sweeper became a part of the baseball lexicon? Isn't that just a curveball, boys? What the hell is a sweeper?
It's a curveball.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
I love that pick, Dylan. You're absolutely right. I mean, the fact it's a hamstring as well, that's not a great thing for a pitcher to have.
No.
If he misses 3 or 4 starts, your bet is well and truly ahead of the curve. So, I like that. We'll move on next. So it sounds like everyone's out on the Cardinals. Maybe not to the extent I am. Got them finishing 5th in the division. But yeah, it's 16-1 for a reason. The Chicago Cubs are next up, 33-1 for the World Series, 16-1 for the league, plus 230 for the division. Minus 116 to make the playoffs, and the total is 2 fewer than the Cardinals. The total is 83.5. We'll come straight back to you, Dylan. Tell us how you feel about the Cubs.
Yeah, a little bits and bots real quick. They hired a new manager, Craig Counsell, finished 83-79 last year. The Cubs, they've just won 1 playoff game since the 2016 World Series, but I think they're going to change that this season. I do like them to go over their win total 84.5. What I said before about the second preseason favorite to win the division, I think they're live. And my bet is I'm going to take Craig Counsell to win the NL Manager of the Year at plus 600. If you're going to bet on the Cubs to have a good season, it's a way to bet Craig Counsell will win the NL Manager of the Year. I think if the Cubs have a good season, they're plus 200 to win the NL Central. That's second best behind a plus 175 St. Louis Cardinals, who we're all out on. So if the Cubs wind up winning the division or make the playoffs, it's going to be because of Craig Counsell and his ability to lead the team. I think he's going to have a strong argument for it. That's why the Cubs went out and got Counsell. They watched him make the most out of Milwaukee. 707 and 625 record across 9 years. Somehow Counsell has never won this award, but I do think that could change with just 1 solid year in Chicago. So I'm going to take over 84.5 wins. I'll take them to make the playoffs at minus 120, and I'll take Craig Counsell, Manager of the Year, at plus 600.
I've said before, the manager thing, for me, I never really know what they do in baseball. I never really understand. But I did listen to some stuff this year, and I know the Brewers fans are not thrilled at all that Counsell left for a big rival. So I understand that. TV DBG is making his feelings quite clear in the chat. Dave, if you're not in on the Cards, are the Cubs the answer?
So the Cubs are an enigma for me because, I mean, it's an improvement, I guess, with getting the manager and Counsell, but who's going to win them this division is Justin Steele. I'm so impressed with him. And his K prop last year was kind of a regular thing, both, in the content and making a play. Like, you want to talk about a K prop over if you're looking at that. I like you're thinking, though, D-Rock, with the under in the K props, because one injury pretty much locks you up to win it. If two, you miss, like you said, now 4 starts, you're pretty much a lock. So a lot of the sharpest guys that I ever met, they always bet those season things under. But on a regular basis, steal K props over. I don't know if they have the best pitching staff starting wise, but it's close in the division. I'm not sure about their bullpen. That's my hesitation. The lineup's going to score runs. They score runs, and that wind starts blowing out at Wrigley. A lot of games will be overs. So I'm a little like, wait and see how this starts, because they dug themselves such a big hole early last year, came back, and then just completely faded down the stretch. The last 2 weeks, it looked like they were going to make the playoffs, and then they did not. I think if you need a team not named the Cincinnati Reds to win this division, it's probably the Cubs. They got a shot at making the playoffs as the team behind the teams that win the division. So I like the Cubs, but I don't really like the Cubs, to answer your question in a roundabout way, Mal.
Okay, fair enough. A lukewarm response from Dave to the Cubs. See, I think the rotation could be all right, because obviously Steele you've mentioned, and really the fly in the ointment here is Imanaga, because you just don't know what you're going to get. But if you get a Kodai Senga type player and season, then all of a sudden, Bosch, that's a great one too. And I've got high hopes for Jameson Taillon as well. He was spectacularly bad in the first half last year. Genuinely, I just think it was bad luck. He had nothing but bad luck. Whatever, if it was a bloop single, or a reliever would come in and instantly give up the runs that Taillon had the runners on base. I think he'll be a lot better. I don't mind Hendricks as an SP4 in this division, and Jordan Wicks is interesting. I actually don't mind the pen either. If you put a gun to my head, I probably won't back them. I've got tons of bets on already, and the Cubs haven't made it into my portfolio yet. And at plus 230, they probably won't. But if you did put a gun to my head and say, there's $100 who you're backing, I probably would pick the Cubs. I do have Cody Bellinger to hit the most home runs at 150 to 1, which the prices reflect the chances, which is fair enough. It's just a little pizza bet. But maybe we'll get to September, and I've got a live runner there. So, yeah, I think the Cubs are going to be okay. I've got a couple of exactas involved in the Chicago Cubs, but we'll come to those at the end of the show. Okay, we'll move on after I've told you next about Champs. Champs is a new sponsor here. That's exciting. A free March Madness bracket for a chance to win $1,000 if you host your own March Madness pool on Champs. They'll give you an extra free entry into this contest as well. Tiebreakers determined by who enters first. So get involved quickly. Head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/champs, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/champs. And Hall of Fame bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NBA season with Hall of Fame bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research NBA and soccer bets with historical stats and data. Put your parlays into the Parlay Optimizer. They will break it down, hit rates by leg, expected probabilities, players' hit rates, find out who's got the best value, all the good stuff. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets. Next up, then, is the Cincinnati Reds. 40 to 1 to win it all, 25 to 1 for the league, plus 350 for the division, plus 145 to make the playoffs, and a total of 82.5. Dave, lukewarm on the Cubs. What temperature do you have the Cincinnati Reds at?
Red hot, like their red uniforms. This is
Nice.
is the team I think wins the division. Ellie De La Cruz is one of the most exciting players in baseball, hands down. I like the lineup. Watched a lot of their games last year. Went to Cincinnati with my brother. Saw them in play in person. There's a vibe. It's back. Like, people are excited, and you can see it just in the regular everyday preparation. Like last year was the learning year. Let's let the kids run. Let's get them out there. Now I feel like it's just more business. Now, this isn't anything that we're not unearthing the atom here. This is a lot of people are on this. And when a lot of people get to be this like up and coming team, this may be the regression year before the really good year comes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the pitching staff is good enough. I mean, I got Hunter Green, Frankie Montas. I really liked Andrew Rabbit, Ashcraft. There's names on there that people might or might not know, but it to me, it's enough. And the lineup will overcome the I don't think there's a lot of holes in the lineup. I think they'll score runs. Okay. I have it here last year where they were 9th in the league in runs scored or 9th in baseball. I think that's going to go up. I think they're going to be an over team more often than not in that bandbox they play in. I like them at 4-1. I got 4-1 here on my list of bets to win a division. So plus 400 to win a division. I think they do go better than 500. 81.5 is my season win total here. I like that over as well. And I take a shot on to make the playoffs because if they don't win a division, I got 165 here on them to make the playoffs. I think this is year Reds find their way in.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere as well. It's really only 2 years ago they were almost at an athletics level of sort of comedy, really. That the owner would just come out and say terrible things, and all of a sudden this came out of nowhere. And they have spent a little bit of money this year because they made some space. Votto went, Moustakis went, Harrison Bader went. So the payroll's not as bad. They've got all the infielders. The infielders are on the Reds. There's no infielders left for everybody else. Good, and you mentioned Ellie De La Cruz. But last year, Spencer Steer was great. Matt McLean. Noel Di Marti is going to be a stud. Encarnacion Strand. Jonathan India can't get a game. 2 years ago, he was an absolute darling. Everybody loved him. They then signed Candelario, which was a bit weird because I think they could have spent that money on a pitcher. That would have been so good. They did. Right, yeah, Dylan, you like a bit of trivia. TJ Friedel last year had a 2017 season. What was the 17? 20 home runs and 17 what? Anyone? Hands up in the chat. Come on. It's good, this. He had Triples. 17 bunts for hits. He led the league in the bunt hits.
Bunts for hits? Really?
Yeah, 17 of those bad boys. And Cincinnati in spring training have come out and said, we're going to do that all year, by the way, because they've got a lot of speed. Bunts for hits is a live thing. And if I tell you what, if Ellie De La Cruz is at the plate, you're not playing him on the grass. I'd be standing 15 yards behind the bag. Right. So Ellie De La Cruz can get as many bunt hits as you want. And I like the rotation as well. People in the chat, Trev and Kaysen, are talking about that. Green, Ashcraft, Montas, Abbott. Names like Abbott and Ashcraft were names we loved on the show on a daily basis last year, Dylan, weren't they? When you saw those names pop up, you're like, come on, okay, let's have the Reds today at plus 120 or whatever they were. Brandon Williams, another one. Nick Lodolo, we haven't mentioned. Good name. Yeah. So my picks are pretty much your picks, Dave. I like the over, and I like them to make the playoffs. I had plus 145. You're telling me there's plus 165 kicking around. So, as always, shop around. But this is going to be a photo finish between the Cubs and the Reds. So, pay your money and take your choice. Dylan, which way would you go here?
Yeah, I want to know what book did you get for plus 400? Because I'm seeing plus 340, and I want to jump on that plus 4-1 right now.
That's FanDuel where you're at, actually.
Okay, perfect.
That's back east. That's I look on the Pennsylvania and New Jersey to gauge what the East Coast price is. So I checked it last night, and it was right there.
Yeah, I got to take a shot on them to win the division. I think Kaysen makes a good point in the chat. You know, if you want to jump on the Reds now, jump on them before everyone, because I think they will be a very public play once everyone gets a hold of how good and how fun this team really is. You guys already mentioned the pitching staff. I love Hunter Green, Frankie Montas, Nick Lodolo. We didn't really mention Nick Martinez. I love this team. I'm going to take their win total over. I got 82.5. I still like it over. But my favorite play Ellie De La Cruz over 39.5 steals at -110. Only 4 players were listed in the stolen base market. And of course, Ellie De La Cruz did make the cut. He was electric on the bases last year as a rookie. 35 stolen bases in 98 games. And according to Baseball Savant, he led the majors with a sprint speed of 30.5 miles feet per second. So he's probably going to be their everyday shortstop most days. And, I feel like the Reds are going to lean on his legs as much as possible when he does get on base. 6 different players in the MLB recorded 40-plus steals last year. And for Ellie De La Cruz to just swipe 5 more bags if he stays healthy, I feel like he's going to fly over this number.
What is the total, D-Rock? 39.5?
39.5 stolen bases. I got it on BetMGM.
Yeah, that's
ridiculous.
That's light. That should be higher. How does he not get 50 stolen bases? I would have thought the number would have been 49.5.
Yeah, 39.5 I got on BetMGM. So yeah, that's my favorite bet. I'm gonna put it in right now at 4-1 to win the division, and I love the win total over. So, this is a talented young roster, and I think they're ready to compete, and which we all think. I think it's a wide open NL Central, and the Reds want to finish higher than third for the first time since they won the Central in 2012. So I think they have a strong chance of doing it.
Cheers, Dylan. I'm just looking. Fangraphs have got De La Cruz projected for 30 steals, but that's in 130 games. So a little bit more health, and you just extrapolate that out. And it's going to be tight. So you're right on the money there.
Dave looks confused.
No, I'm just trying to play out how do they project him to only play 130 games? I mean, you can't. Yeah. So when we would do the numbers in the book, we would assume 150 games. That's okay. Like the odds maker. We're always trying to. You get a day off a week, and then maybe another 5 or 6 games, and you play between 145 and 150. So. I'm surprised it's that low, but listen, maybe they're going to rest them up and not use them every day.
Are we about to see load management in the MLB?
I don't want to see that. I don't want to. Please don't start that. Please. I mean, baseball players play. Take Sundays off occasionally. That's fine. The Sunday lineups, you guys know, a little bit different. Mm-hmm. That's when a guy like Mal would get in the lineup on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what happens. You get in on Sundays, give the guy a rest from the night before. Day game after night game. But yeah, I'm surprised. Did anyone else see Munaf jump in there and leave a little stealth message? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did the chat see that?
Munaf is omnipresent. He's always watching. You might think he's not, but Munaf's everywhere.
Man, oh man. I thought with 3 of us were the only ones that saw that. He just stealth dropped into Andrew Abbott to lead the league in Ks. Wow. I didn't even know the guy could do that. That was nice. I like what he did there.
It's not a bad pick. Yeah, Andrew Abbott was Munaf's pick for strikeout leader. Myself and Noah drafted Andrew Abbott in TGFBI in the slowest draft I have ever taken part in. We're in round 17 and we're on day 11. It's absolutely unbearably slow.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And this is me. Half the time I'm in bed when I'm on the clock. But I'm not the slowest. It's the slowest a week in prison, honestly. I'm not the slowest by a long shot. It's really, really bad. There's a couple of some of the leagues have finished the 30-round draft, and we're in round 17.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely incredible. Right, Trev, you're up. It's the Milwaukee Brewers. Next, 75-1 for the World Series, 35-1 for the league, plus 650 for the division. 3-1 to make the playoffs, and the total is at 77.5. We let Dylan lead us off with the Brewers, so Dave can have the Pirates in a minute. Dylan, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, this is actually the first team. I'm actually going to go over their win total here, 76.5. It's a little chalky at -115, but you know what they say, the juice is worth the squeeze sometime. I'm going to take a shot with them to go over. I feel like the NL Central is as competitive as it's been in recent years, while the Brewers are like odds makers, like Dave said, they think they're rebuilding this year, but I feel like this win total counts them out a little too much, in my opinion. I think 76.5 wins is too low. I think they could get anywhere from 79 to low 80s, for the Brewers this season. Regardless, 76 is just too low for a number for a team that's cleared this win total 6 of its last 7 full seasons, regardless of the COVID year. But the Brewers haven't had a losing season since 2016, a streak that could end this year. But don't be surprised. I feel like they'll be hovering around 500 for most of the year. So I do like the win total. I'm not going to touch the division at plus 700. To make the playoffs, no, I'm not going to touch that. I have no player props either. So, I think they'll be fine without Craig Counsell, if I'm being honest. But, this win total hasn't been this low since 2017, when they went over that as well. 70.5 it was in 2017. So I think they go over. This is just too good of an organization for them not to go over.
I have got a pick for you, Dylan. You're going to love in a minute. I think it fits right into your handicap there. You said they were kind of rebuilding. They're just throwing out really weird mixed signals in that they lost Burns, but then they extended Chirios, the kid, the rookie centre fielder. They added Hoskins. So I'm not really sure what they're doing. They seem to be in a little bit of flux at the moment. They've got some young names. DL Hall's got potential. Turang, Frelick are okay. Willie Adames is getting some talk in the chat there that they might be hawking him around. This is his last year. He will be moved on after this. And Joey Ortiz will come in for Adames. He came across in the Burns trade. So I don't think they're out of it at all. They haven't got much depth. The bullpen is okay. So I think the prices are absolutely fair. But like Dylan said, they're used to being successful. They've won 85 to 90 games, 6 seasons in a row. And I think they can get to 80. I found a prop here, Dylan. This is the one you like. For the Brewers to record 80 wins is plus 150. So if you're not sure about what was the total there? You think
76.5.
Yeah, if you like the over, if you think it can get to the low 80s, which I agree, I think the record 80 wins was the standout for me here at plus 150, 6-4. Dave?
This is a really interesting team because they've been at the top of the division. I mean, it feels like for the last 5 years. I mean, the playoffs, the automatic fade once they got to the playoffs. So let's keep it real. But making it and getting there, 2 different things. Now, trading Burns, instant reaction is, well, it has to come down. That's it immediately. They don't have it, but do they? I mean, Freddie Peralta is a legit number 1.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a drop off there. Now, underneath that, I think this might be an underrated starting staff. So I think the pitching can hold them in games. There's a lot of question marks on the lineup. That's the hard part right now. We don't know much about, 1, how many runs they're going to score. 2, can they be consistent in scoring runs? Because in baseball now, when you go bad, if you go bad and score 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs, you go on losing streaks. Burns was the anti-losing streak guy, and getting him every day stop that. There may be stretches during the season when the Brewers lose 4 or 5 in a row. Well, they're not going to win 90 games having multiple losing streaks of 4 or 5 in a row. I love those bet against. I think they don't make the playoffs. I mean, it's juicy. I got minus 400. They're not making the playoffs. I absolutely bet no. I don't think they're going to have enough. And if 2 teams are coming out for me, it's Cincinnati and the Cubs, which means there's no spot for the Brewers. And we'll get to the Pirates here in a second. I just want them to make the playoffs one more time in my life. That would be great. But I think the Brewers run over the Pirates. If you look back in season head-to-head series, the Brewers, when they played 18 times a year, would go 16-2. Oh, wow. I can't wait as a Pirate fan to finally get back at the Brewers. I might get them down a little bit. So it's personal with me. It's not that I don't like the Brewers, but they've owned the Pirates. So I'm looking to go against them more often than not there.
Dave, real quick, I have a question.
Yes.
Real quick, if I could jump in, Mal. What do you think about, obviously they send away Corbin Burns for a bunch of young apparently promising. What do you think about this kid, DJ Hall and Joey Ortiz? It looks like he probably could start second base, and Hall probably be on the back end of the rotation. I don't think the rotation's that bad.
I don't think so either. I have Hall written down here as either 4 or 5 starter. So just from what I've read, I haven't seen them in person yet. I make a lot of my evaluations when I see them in person, but I think that's a good thing. And Ortiz, I've heard nothing but good. So like this can be a good thing. It can help the transition a lot quicker as long as like April and beginning of May go okay. If it goes bad quick, then they're trading guys at the trade deadline. That's why this number's lower too. You got to put this number a little bit lower, because if we reach a trade deadline and they're sellers, which they haven't been for at least half a decade, then that number's justified. Yeah.
I think he's 4th in the rotation. Got Freddie Peralta, like you mentioned, Wade Miley, Aaron Ashby probably be the 3rd, and then it has to be DL Hall, and then Colin Ray, I think, would be the 5th. But I think he could be their number 4th or 5th starter. I think it is promising. I think there's a lot of upside to him.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think there is definitely a drop-off. The other thing, Rhys Hoskins is going to make a difference. The Brewers played 10 different first basemen last year. 10! That's an outrage. So I think with Hoskins coming in, if Contreras continues to improve, Yelich is relatively solid, they're going to be all right. Like I say, the 80 wins at plus 150, I might have a little dabble on it, but there will be other stuff that blows my skirt up a little bit more than that. Finally, the team we've all been waiting for, Dave, the Pittsburgh Pirates, to win the World Series are 75-1, 35-1 for the league, 1,800 plus 1,800 for the division, 7-1 to make the playoffs, and a total of 73.5. Dave, make your case.
Oh boy, I thought about blowing your skirt up, like just whatever's under that skirt, under your skirt, Mal. It actually alarmed me for 1 second. All right, last year I was really high on the Pirates, and I had over 66.5 wins. I had one of the most fun summers that I've had in a while, because things started out really well in April. They went to Boston and swept the Red Sox. Carlos Santana was talking about fun things. The Pirates were winning games, walking teams off. And then O'Neal Cruz got hurt and sliding. Like, he can't slide. How do you not slide? I don't want to think about it. Anyhow, he's back. Okay. He's going to be okay. Now, we got a pretty good outfield. Reynolds, Sawinski, and platoon of Oliveras and Joshua Palacios, who I really like Palacios. That's a good outfield. Now, we're replacing Carlos Santana with Rowdy Tellez, who's from the Brewers, one of the 10. All right, we got a big lefty who looks like a big guy in those uniforms. That's fine. We had one of those before. Daniel, that we shipped up to the Mets. What was his name? Daniel
Vogelback.
Yes.
Big lad.
Yes, big guy. More looks like he should be on the offensive line for the Steelers than the Pirates.
Yeah.
But we got all these things, and then we got McCutchen, one of my favorite players in the last 20 years. So glad he came back. I just wish he would have never left, because we lost a lot of the good years there in between, and now we're getting the end, which is fine, but I don't think it's going to help him win games too often. He's good for the team, good for the clubhouse, and certainly good for the social media. Now it's the pitching staff, Mel. I wish I could help you. I can't help you. Henry Davis is a power machine. Can't catch. This is a problem. You put the guy behind the plate, he's not a good catcher. He's eligible for fantasy. That's awesome. You should draft him in there. He's a basher. He's a big hitter. He's going to hit the lineup. Yasmi Grandal's going to do the catching duties, so that's good. But I'm looking at this pitching staff, and I'm going, man, they signed Mitch Keller to an extended deal. That's your ace. He's going to give you innings. He's going to have days where he has a lot of strikeouts, but there's going to be some days it's not going to be so good, and you're going to have to win a game 8-7. After that, Martin Perez is listed here is number 2. Gonzalez is number 3. Ortiz is number 4. And a guy named Bailey Falter I have listed as number 5. And he throws it like 78. I mean, he don't even throw it hard. It's a batting practice for the 5th starter. It's going to be a lot of games. I did pregame for the Pittsburgh Pirates last year. We had a deal set up where I went on the pregame show for 100 games. Every game that was before 4 o'clock Pacific. So it was awesome. So I was dialed in, giving out picks every day, talking about players and stuff. I did a lot of hitting props. Mal, D-Rock, not a lot of pitching props. I'm worried this team may have a really long season. I think the book adjusted the number maybe a little bit smidge too high. Believe me, 81, that would be great. And summer will be awesome here. I don't think they go 500. I really don't. I want them to. O'Neal Cruz has to pick up the team and carry them at the leadoff, and then the rest of the guys. Reynolds is great. Zawinski hits home runs. A lot of good things happening. Brian Hayes, he's great defensively at third. He has a lot of lulls where he goes 2 for 26 on a week. But under the season wins. I said it. It's fine. Under.
Oh, Dave's knocked the air right out of the enthusiasm of this episode with his Pittsburgh handicap. Sour times. What about your man Roansy Contreras as the 5th starter? He's all right, isn't he?
I watched almost all of his starts last year. Yes. When he has his control, excellent. When he doesn't, between him and Ortiz, a lot of walks, a lot of base runners, one of those 3 1/3.
Yeah, okay.
3 earned ratio of 5 walks to 2 strikeouts. It's just, but the potential is there. So hopefully I'm going to get down to Florida. I've never been to Bradenton. I've been to Florida for spring training, but I got some contacts down there. Might get the VIP treatment. I'm just going to sit there for 4 days and watch all the bullpens, watch all the starting pitchers, and go, please, one more time. 1979, We Are Family. It was Willie Stargell's birthday yesterday. I saw all the Sister Sledge videos and the Pirates and beating the Orioles, and I was all excited. And I said, just one more time in my life. I'm 53. I want to see one more run to the World Series, please.
Well, you might get it next year, Dave, maybe. Dylan, thoughts on the Pirates?
I want to ask Dave, thoughts on Aroldis Chapman? Expectations high or up in the air?
So, as long as his role is accepted and as long as they understand that he's not the closer, because he's not. Bednar is tremendous, but if they got Chapman to use to trade Bednar, I'm going to be bummed out. Bednar's a Pittsburgh kid who's the most reliable part of the Pirates is the bullpen in Bednar.
Yeah.
I think Chapman will be good. As long as Shelton knows, put him in his face a lefty in the 8th. If he walks him or they get a hit, let's maybe go get him. Let's not leave him in for what comes next, because the margin for error for the Pirate bullpen is razor thin. Can't mess up.
Yeah, I was just going to say they can't get rid of David Bednar. He's their closer. They have to know his role. He has to be the setup man, and I think the margin of error is very thin as well. But I'm actually going to put a little fun player prop bet. O'Neal Cruz to finish with more home runs than Ella De La Cruz at even money at plus 100. I think this is a fun market where, there are many head-to-head home run matchups in the MLB market, and I like the one between two young studs in the same division. So both players, obviously, hype is through the roof with both players, but Ella De La Cruz hit just 13 home runs, and the underlying metrics suggest that, switch hitters are much better. He's a much better lefty than he is a righty. So the difference in speed swing is 2 miles per hour slower on the right side than the left side. So, and as for O'Neal Cruz, obviously, he only just played 9 games last year due to the injury, but he did hit 17 home runs in 87 games. and I think he offers so much more power. He's huge. He's 6'7". He's a tank, and he ranked in the top 9% in the league in average exit velocity in 2013 when healthy. There are question marks for both players, but I do think O'Neal Cruz offers more power, more upside, and at even money compared to -130 for Ella De La Cruz to finish with more home runs, I'm going to take a shot on a bounce-back season from O'Neal Cruz. So at even money, I'm going to take him to finish with more home runs than Ella De La Cruz.
Tell you what, we've found our way around a lot of different markets in the last hour, Dylan. I absolutely love that. I think Pittsburgh will be fine. They haven't lost anybody of any consequence. They've added Tellez, Dave, that you already mentioned. Henry Davis was a name I was going to throw out there. The top of the rotation's okay. Keller, Perez and Gonzalez. But they need to get 2 wins out of those 3 on a weekly basis and see if they can cobble together another one. I think the total's too low. 76 wins last year. I think they'll be nearer 78. So that total is 73.5. There's a nice margin there, so I've got no problem with that at all. The other one rookie name I did want to throw out is a name you might know. Is Kanan Smith and Jigby.
Yep.
The outfielder whose brother plays for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
And Smith and Jigby was traded across from Seattle to Pittsburgh here. So I think we'll see him round about mid-season. So he'll be another fun player to watch. Like I say, Pittsburgh won't make it into many of my season bets, but I do think they're going to go over the total. The odds to make the playoffs is more than fair. I've got them around about 9-2, and they're actually 7-1. So I wouldn't put you off that either. So yeah, I think that's just about my assessment of the Pirates.
That's funny.
You're going to be able to throw a blanket over all these teams from the start of September. Go on, Dave. Sorry.
I have a great story. So I was in the book at the Cosmo last year, meeting a guy about a thing. That's what I always do at Sports Beat Cake and Sig. I take a picture. I went down to meet somebody, and I'm sitting there, and I walked in front of these 2 women sitting on a couch, and they're like, "Excuse me, can you just slide over a little bit?" And I said, "Sure." You know, why? You watching a Pirate game? And she says, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, great. I'm a Pirate fan too. You're from Pittsburgh?" She goes, "No, my son is playing right field." I said, "Oh, who's that?" "Smith and Jigba."
Oh,
I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You're his mom?" Yeah. Okay. Well, wow, you're having a hell of a year. Your other kid's going to get drafted in the NFL. She's like, "I know." She's like, "We're kind of celebrating in between. We're going, to see him at his pro day or something." I was like, what the hell is happening right now? It was incredible. So we hung out and watched the game. You want to talk about, I mean, it's fun watching a game as a parent of a kid playing a sport, period. He's in the major leagues. He's in right field in PNC Park playing, and she's like living and dying with every pitch. It was awesome. But I'm a big fan. Hopefully he makes the big club, get some more time, because he started in April. They sent him down. He got hurt, never came back up. It's a cruel world, Mal. You know, I mean, you're still playing the sport, so you understand.
Yeah, he'll be back. He's sitting at the end of my bench in plenty best ball teams at the moment. So hopefully, come the Dogs' days of summer, he can start contributing off there. Okay, well, we've made it through all 5 teams. It is best bets time, Dave. So lead us off with your pick of the bunch.
I really like the Cincinnati season win total over. And I think that one, to make the playoffs, is a fair price. You don't have to bet them to win the division, but I'm big on Cincinnati right now. We're going that route, and I got all the gear. I got the old gear, I got the new gear, the City Connect gear, so I'm all set up with the Reds for this season.
Nice. Dylan, same question.
I love the Ella De La Cruz steal prop. I think the number is just too low. I think the books got that one wrong. And Dave mentioned, it is hard now to get 2 teams in the same division to make the playoffs. And that's exactly my bet. One NL team to make the playoffs at plus 130. As much fun as this division should be, I do feel like there's a chance only one team gets into the postseason. According to the odds, the Cardinals and the Cubs, they have a pretty good shot, but it costs plus 100 odds to bet on 2 teams to make it to the playoffs in the NL Central. But at plus 130 for only one team to make it, even with 3 wildcard spots, I think it's worth taking a little less of a payout, in my opinion. So That's going to be my best bet for the show. Only one NL Central team to make the playoffs at plus 130.
Okay. I've got a couple. I like the Reds to make the playoffs, which Dave threw out at 165. I like the Brewers to get to 80 games at plus 150. But I've got a couple of related contingencies here because I'm very low on the Cardinals. Like I say, Cardinals to finish last at 16-1. That gives me the Cubs and the Reds in an exacta at the top of the division. So the Cubs to win with Cincinnati finishing second is plus 650.
Wow.
And if you want to go the other way around, the Reds to be followed home by the Cubs is plus 850. So for all the people who like the Reds to win, you get the Cubs to chase them home. And it's a little bit better than a plus 165 pick or something like that. So that would be I got a round of applause there, Dave.
I like that. Actually, yeah, that's a fun bet. I'm going to have to peruse some markets to try to find that thing. I love the exacta bets. One of the biggest bets of my life that I ever hit was last year hitting the World Series exacta, Texas over Arizona.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, 375-1. And I had it the other way. I had Arizona over Texas at 400-1. So once they actually both made it to the World Series, I was running around the house and the wife was like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "We got to go to dinner. Let's go to dinner. I'm really excited right now." And she said, What are you doing? I said, "I'm just telling you, let's go to dinner. Let's have this relax." So I love the exacta bet, Mal. That's fun. That's good.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate coming from you. That's worth 110 pence in the pound. I like that. Dylan, is there anything else you want to tell the people before we let them go?
No, I do have a question though for Dave before we get up out of here. UFC 306 it's Mexican Independence Day, September 14th in the Sphere. One, how amazing is the Sphere? And two, I'm going to be out there for the event.
Whoa.
What should I expect? The first combat sports thing in the Sphere.
The Sphere is amazing to look at from the outside. You can see it from everywhere. Really? I just flew back east last week and I saw it from the sky. It's unreal. Inside, I haven't been yet, but I know that everyone that's gone in, it says it's one of those, like, one of the most unique experiences they've ever had. I cannot imagine what the UFC event in there is going to be like. It's probably going to be one of the most, well-attended, most, like, clipped scenes that they've ever had. I can't wait to see it. That'll be fun. I got to make sure I get I get a press pass for that. So that'll be good. I'm working on UFC 300. So, like, worrying about 306 is one thing. Listen, if you guys come out, for the contest and all that other stuff, we got a proxy service we can help you, hook you up with. We'll go to a nice lunch. Mal, you might have to come across the pond and come out. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. We'll see if the boys will send you a ticket.
Look, every time I get on a show with whoever the guest is or whatever we talk about, the show always ends with, you need to get out to Vegas again. And you're absolutely right. That's why there's a reason I've got these 150-1 Cody
We need it.
home run.
We need it.
Exactly. Yeah. That because they're just little Vegas tickets. Every single one of those bets is a flight to Las Vegas. So if I can cash one, I will be there, Dave.
Perfect.
Thanks, Dave. Honest, always one of the absolute highlights of the year. We get you on pre-season and then we'll talk to you again in the summer. But I love it. I absolutely love it. Me and Dylan were chatting this afternoon and we were both dead excited to have you on because it's just fun. It's an absolute pleasure, mate. So we appreciate you taking the time. We hope you enjoy your season. Dylan, thank you very much. Well done, mate. And thanks everyone in the chat as well. It was buzzing and it makes the show when people come in and say hello and get involved. So, the same time next week, Tuesday and Thursday, we've got 2 more divisional previews. And just keep watching out for all the content. Do the usual things, like, rate, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever it is that you do. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Dave. Good luck with all your bets. And we will see you down the road. Cheers.